It's time for another musical interlude. Let's get started. Talking with people with music in their genes, their blood, and in their soul. You are watching Musical Interlude. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Musical Interlude. I am your host, Casey Bell, and today's guest is Pittsburgh's Queen drummer, Tedi Brunetti. Let's get started.
When is your earliest memory of you finding your passion for music?
Ah, well, I know exactly when it happened, actually. I was at a friend's birthday party. I was about 10 or 11 years old. And she had an older sister who had a little pink Victrola record player. And they put a single on, and it was Louie Louie by the Kingsmen. And I heard this song with this, something happened to me. I got electrified. I mean, it was a spiritual experience, I have to tell you. I was only like 10 or 11, but I was possessed, and I pushed everyone out of the way. I got in front of that little Victrola, and I just kept playing that single over and over again. The drums just spoke to me, and there was something about it that I just knew in the deepest part of myself, this is what you're going to do. This is what you do. You're a drummer. You're a musician. This is what you're going to do. And I had never played an instrument up until then. And so I just got hit with it like a lightning bolt. And they literally had to grab me and pull me away from the record player to get me back into the party. And I went home after that, and that's when I asked to take drum lessons. And my parents said no, because they thought drums was a boy's instrument. So I asked for the next best thing, which was guitar. At least I thought it was at that point. And they said, okay. And they actually bought me a guitar, and I started taking guitar lessons. And I'm happy for that now, because I did pretty well with the guitar. Drums was always my passion, but I write my music now on guitar. And so, you know, it paid off for me. I started writing songs right away too when I started guitar. So it all worked out. You know, things happen the way they're supposed to, I guess. Huh?
When did you actually begin to start playing the drums?
Well, that started in high school. My family, I'm the oldest of 10 kids, and my family moved from the small house into a larger house over the summer before I started my freshman year in high school. And it was a new school district. So when I went in to sign up for my classes, they asked, do you want to be in the band or the chorus? I said, I want to be in the band. And they said, what instrument do you play? And I said, the drums. My mom just looked at me, because I'd never played a drum, you know, and, but I knew I could. So I signed up for band, and that I walked into that band class, and the boys, it was all boys, of course, with the drums set up in the back of the band room. And I was the new kid. So the lead drummer at the time, he said to me, so you play the drums? I said, yeah. So he handed me a set of sticks, and he said, play rat-a-tat-a-tat. So I played rat-a-tat-a-tat. He says, oh, okay. He says, now go down to the end of the line. Maybe we'll let you play cowbell or triangle or something. Well, that band director, Mr. Ugello, he was the sweetest soul. He must have seen the smoke coming out of my ears, because I was pretty upset by that. And he said, don't worry, honey, you'll get your chance to play the drums, you know. And I thought to myself, I'm going to go take drum lessons, and I'll show them I'm going to be better than all of them. You know, and that's what I did. I had a part-time job after school at a fried chicken place, and I took my money and got on a bus and went to the mall and signed myself up for drum lessons. And nobody could believe, especially my parents, and that's what I was spending my money on, was my drum lessons. And I just fell in love with it.
When did you get to the point to where because you already knew prior to that you were going to be doing that, you said, when you were listening to that album. But when did you get to the point to where you said, okay, let's do this. Let's go into the studio. Let's record something. Let's start a band. When did you really get started?
Oh, okay. Well, you know, I went to high school. I ended up going to college for a couple of years. I got a scholarship for snare drumming and dropped out after this was I graduated high school in 1970. Okay, so I dropped out of school, went on the road with a rock band, and and I had been writing songs since I was 11. All right, and so that was always my dream, you know, to be a rock star, you know, to go make albums and records and have a hit record. And I met my husband uh, on the road in that band, and we ended up getting engaged. We got married, and we went to New York City to try to make it in the music business. And we didn't know anyone, and we got to New York and found our way around. You know, we looked at ads in the Village Voice, and they were opening this building called the Music Building, and we had just got married, so we had a little nest egg of cash. So we were able to move into this loft building that was it was a starving artist loft. I live in a loft now in downtown Pittsburgh. It's like a luxury condo, you know, but back in those days. And it was a great time to be in New York because there was a real starving artist community there. And with musicians, you know, we all knew each other. We all played the same clubs. We all went to each other's gigs and supported each other. So I did my thing. I did other people's bands. I did a lot of things in New York. It was a great time in my life. Then I had kids.
Yeah. So during that time where you were following your passion, what were some things you learned along the way about the music business that kind of, you know, oh my gosh, I didn't realize this, or I didn't know about that? What were some of the things you learned along the way?
Well, the music business today is quite different than it was back then. Okay. There's a lot more women involved in the music business nowadays, as in a lot of businesses. So back then it was pretty male dominated. And I mean, it still is, but that was an obstacle, you know, and I was married, so I wasn't really available, you know. Yeah, all the things you hear about sex, drugs, and rock and roll, it was all true. And more so than anybody really realizes, you know. That was one thing. Yeah, it's a tough business. It's a tough business, you know, and it's a business. That's the other thing. It's a business. And now I'm older and wiser, so I understand that more. So there's a lot of really great, so talented, you know, there's musicians, when they play, it rips your heart out. You want to cry when you hear them play. It's so beautiful, and nobody knows who they are, you know, that kind of thing. And then there's people that maybe you don't like so much or think are that talented, who have big hit records, you know. So, you know, it's the full gamut, the full circle of all that, you know. So I think there's room for everybody, and everything has a place, and I'm for everyone. So, you know. But
I think that is something most people who enjoy making music forget, is that it's called music business, and there is a business side that you should probably learn before you get into it, because it's not all easy and as creating the music is. So talk about your single Evil Woman. What was the inspiration behind that project?
Well, there was a few things that got me going on that tune. At first, my husband and I, we started we had a little blues cover band, because we hadn't played in a while, and we just wanted to check out the scene here in Pittsburgh. And we knew there were a lot of blues clubs and stuff, and we knew people who were doing that. And just to see if we could play again, you know, if we wanted to, really, you know. And that got I started writing for that band. And we had a male singer up front, because I play the drums and I sing and I write, but I hadn't sang in like 20, 30 years. So I didn't even know if I could sing anymore, you know? But so we had this singer, and he had a girlfriend who started giving him trouble. And she got online on Facebook and was, saying all, you know, got like a real drama queen sideshow started happening. So that's where I write from titles. I studied songwriting in New York at the Songwriters Guild and ASCAP. And so I write like a Tin Pan Alley songwriter wrote back in the day. I write from titles, okay? And so I came up with this evil woman because this lady was kind of nasty to this guy, right? So that was the first idea. And then I get my hair done at this wonderful hair salon with these hip, young, haughty chicks in their 20s and 30s. It's called, the name of the hair salon is Swank, all right? So it's super cool. And I love going up there with those young women and listening to their stories while I'm getting my hair done, when they're talking about their boyfriends and this and that and their husbands and their kids and their, you know, everything they're into, and they're on their phones and on their Instagrams and all that stuff. So that's what the song ended up being about too. It's about two women after one guy, you know.
Okay.
The video is awesome. I can't wait. It drops on May 25th. So
Okay.
I can't wait for you to see it.
Yes. Sounds amazing. So this is your latest album. Are you the kind of musician who keeps your mind steady on one album? Or once you release an album, are you still working on the next project?
I write out of necessity. So I'm not real prolific. I don't have like a catalog of songs in the back that I can just make an album if I want to. I usually start with a few ideas. I have a song that I'm thinking of doing on the next album that's a little more experimental in terms of the use of time in it, because I'm a drummer. And so I'm not really prolific. I don't write a lot. I don't record a lot. This is my second solo album in 30 years, you know, but time's running out now for me. So I'm already planning the next project after this one, but I probably won't get around to starting it until next year. I want to give this album the shot that it deserves, because it was a big piece of work, and I have exceptional people involved in it as far as the production, arrangements, the musicians, you know, the promotion, the videos. I still have videos to make for this album. You know, we're going to shoot another video at the beginning of June.
So what do your, I know in the email you sent that you wanted to do this to show your grandchildren that you were once cool. What do your children and your grandchildren think about not only your past in music, but your present?
Well, I don't know about my grandchildren. They're pretty young still. They think I'm cool. My kids do. Our oldest boy, he's very artistic, and he's more into like live action role playing and costuming and doing that kind of stuff. And then our younger boy is a musician. He's a plumber drummer, I call him now, because he has a 5-year-old that he has to support. So he went to school for plumbing to back himself up. But he has a jam band, and he actually played guitar on this album of mine. The song Queen of Pittsburgh, the title song, there's a father-son guitar solo section, which is very special to me, you know. And yeah, and our younger boy, James, he plays guitar, bass, and drums, and he plays the hell out of all of them. He's a great musician. He's been playing drums since he was old enough to sit on the drum stool without falling off, you know. I got him started, you know, and So he's a heck of a musician. My husband's a lead guitar player. So he, you know,
Cool.
he comes by it honestly, this kid, you know, it's in his genes, but they're enjoying it. I think they're surprised. I don't know. I'll have to ask them, but I think everyone's surprised that I'm taking it this far, you know,
Right.
but I got an opportunity, and so you're either all in or you don't do it at all, you know. So what started out as, like you said, that legacy album developed into a whole, now I'm in the music business. I'm not retired anymore.
Explain to me how you became the Queen of Pittsburgh.
Well, this is the funny thing. Nobody's heard this song yet, so they don't, and it would be natural for you to think I'm saying I'm the Queen of Pittsburgh, but that's not really what it is. The thing of the song is, I'm not going to stop kicking ass until they make me the Queen of Pittsburgh.
Oh, okay.
So Dean Sargent and Michael Hennigan are my producers, and they co-produced it with me and my husband. So they came to Pittsburgh, and I showed them, I have this loft, we have this beautiful city view. We took them around the city because we love Pittsburgh, and we showed them the city. And on their way home, they live in the Poconos, which is like 6 hours from us. So on their way back to the Poconos, Dean gives me a call, and he said, okay, I have this idea for a song. See what you can do with it. It's called Queen of Pittsburgh. And I thought, uh-oh. I said, oh, people are going to be hating on that. Oh, she thinks she's the Queen of Pittsburgh. And he said, no, it's really funny. He's like, you know, it's tongue in cheek. It's the Queen of Pittsburgh. You're not saying you're the Queen of England. You know, I mean, it's like the Queen of Poughkeepsie. Nobody really cares. You know, it's the Queen of Pittsburgh. So I said, okay. And so then, and the song is a tribute to the city and how the city is changed and transformed from the steel city, and now we're a technology thing, and it talks about that in the lyrics. And like I said, I'm not going to stop, I'm not going to quit until they make me the Queen of Pittsburgh, and that's what that song's about. So it's bold, you know. We titled the album that because it's memorable. It ended up being a good marketing thing for me. You know, people remember it because it stuns them at first, because somebody's going to say they're the Queen of Pittsburgh. Who's that? You know. Mm-hmm. But at this age, if somebody has to be the Queen of Pittsburgh, I love my city, so it could be me.
So much has changed in the music business since you started in the 1970s. One of the things that's a lot different today was that back then you were not in the middle of the pandemic. So what is it like being a musician during this time?
It's difficult. It's difficult. I'm really blessed in that I'm financially stable, okay? But I know so many musicians, I mean, with all the venues being shut down and, right. You know, they're suffering. A lot of people dropped out of the music business. You know, a lot of great musicians, I hope they come back, you know, just because they had to survive, you know, right. And it's been really, really hard for musicians. And my heart goes out to all of them, you know. I know making this album in the middle of this pandemic, it slowed us down quite a bit. I mean, you couldn't be together, you couldn't, you know, so that stretched out how long it was going to take to bring this album to fruition. But I feel like everything happens in God's time, not in my time. So with that in mind, you know, you just roll with the punches, you know. So hopefully things are going to change now with the vaccines and everything, and people are, you know, it seems like we're turning it around now. So that's great, you know.
Yeah.
But I do have a place in my heart where I pray for everybody who was affected by this, you know, either with sickness or, just, financially, a lot of people lost their livelihoods, and that's rough. That's rough.
It is. So my last question that I have for you, during your time of music, if there was ever anyone in the music business that inspired you that you would like to meet, either for a conversation or for collaboration, whether this person is dead or alive, whether they're known or unknown, they could be a writer, singer, producer, engineer, anyone in the music business at all, who would it be and why?
I think it might be Sting, because I was in New York. The Police, they had such a remarkable career, really, and they were really smart. From what I understand, they held on to their publishing before that was like the thing to do. They turned down a big advance and did their first tour. First off, it was almost 2 years exactly from the first time they played CBGB's, okay, in the East Village, to headlining Madison Square Garden. 2 years. And they kept their publishing. They were so smart, and they did their first tour, from what I understand, I might be wrong, but they rented like station wagons, and they like roadied themselves on their first tour. And they're great songwriters. They won, Song of the Year and everything else. So it was certainly a very smart move on their part, So, and he's a bass player, and I'm a drummer. And I did study bass for a while in high school. And actually, the first band I was in, the first rock band I was in, when I dropped out of college, I was the bass player in the band. So I have a thing about bass. I think I have an innate feel for that instrument, like I do for the drums. All right, but so I think he would be a good person to play with and collaborate with, because I'm a drummer, he's a bass player, we both sing. I've seen him several times. He's magnificent if you ever get a chance to see him live. So I would say Sting. Yeah. Your posts abuse me. The consequence of your intent does not amuse me. Excuse me if I may. It's time to go away. You got nothing nice to say. You're an evil woman. Says he loves me, says he's my man. Posted my picture all over Instagram. It's your evil pleasure messing with my life. It's your evil pleasure. It's your evil pleasure. He got twisted 'cause he wants me for his wife. Jealousy, honey, please. You sure got a lot of nerve talking shit on me. Excuse me if I may. It's time to go away.
Thank you so much for taking the time to watch Musical Interlude. I want to thank our guest, Tedi Brunetti, for stopping on by to share her story and musical journey. And you, the audience, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Have a great week.